Hey everybody, it's Mark with M&S Outdoor Living back with another video, and today we're going to be getting into a complete patio build. Whether you're new to the channel or you're a returning viewer, we have a few tips today that are going to aid you in doing a great job on your next project. So here I am doing my original measurements. The homeowner's with me at this time, and we are just talking through a few perspective options that we eventually take into our 3D design software. We'd like to pair our homeowners with a multitude of different options so that they're able to be paired with different ideas so they can have a visual representation of what to expect, because a lot of times there's a miscommunication. I don't explain it very well, or they're not understanding it. There's a disconnect. We don't want that. We want to make sure that they're on the same page. So now it's time to attack this backyard. We got our mini excavator in there. You can see we have a Chinese mini right there. Absolutely incredible for getting it in between this fence opening, which was only about 4 feet. You can see the existing layout. So we got this concrete patio that they had existing, which lends to what you're about to watch. So yeah, we took a few minutes to come up with a game plan, and yeah, here it is, our first batch of material. We got our first couple pallets, and the rest we ended up going with nickel-lock pavers. We got our bluestone right there, and we also have our ideal wall block. We want the quarry blend, awesome to work with. So here we are. We have the excavator in place, and we got our grade line situated for our loose digging area. Just looking at the sheer volume of stuff that we have around, I really like this machine. So while it's a little bit jerky and it doesn't have fine-tuned controls for the hydraulics, it's very good for confined spaces. Based on the size of this yard, we have a 1/4 acre lot right here. It is absolutely perfect, especially with the spatial concerns. Here's our wall. We have it dry laid out. We've put our gravel in, and we're starting to map out the outskirts of this design. I'm dry cutting this with a chisel, just assembling one of the last blocks for the lower part of this wall. We're getting our rough idea situated, doing some cuts to be able to finish up the caps on this, and that's not an illusion up on top of that platform right there. We used all bagged material on this job because of the fence opening. We could not get material back there. That is a lot of bluestone, and yes, we had to carry them through. We are looking at that lower area. We've got it roughly dug out. The wall's looking great. It's taking shape. And we did a little bit of grading over here because this yard sloped probably right around 14 inches. So we took some of what we dug out and put it over on that side and a little bit behind the wall. Yeah, so we have our leveling base stone and our paver base panels. I really love these things. They are amazing. They act as an additional 4 inches of base material, so it worked perfectly for this context. We're here getting our herringbone pattern laid out with our border. We have our corner squared off right here. So when you're building off of a corner, or when you're building the outside, sometimes it's good to lay your string line out and assemble your border and build on the inside. But you can't always do that because occasionally you'll have cuts or you'll be dealing with a situation like we have on this. The existing upper patio area was actually 4.5 inches out of square. So one side was straight. We had to essentially pull our line off of the front side, and the left-hand side, if you were looking at it from the front, went in 4.5 inches from the starting point over 19 feet, which created a lot of cuts for us. But so more or less, at times you'll have to play around with how you're assembling this, but in many contexts, it's good to lay out your side first. This is the base for the walkway. We have these base panels in, ready to go. Enjoying the coffee. Homeowner was incredible. Coffee every day, multiple snacks and treats. We still have to return her Nespresso cup. They were absolutely incredible to us. We were very thankful. So we already got a 45 cut on the corner. Did our dry lay on this piece, all the way around the corner, all the way over to here. These stakes represent a loose representation of the height that we're going to be establishing. You get up about 1 inch to allow for about a 1/2 inch paver sand so that we're able to level it. We have a few differences we're going to have to look at. We might have to plane a few things down. The low spot right here. This is dry laid out as well. This is not going to be the established height. We're more than likely going to have a low point here and have a little bit of an angle because we have two pieces that are meeting one another. So for instance, this is going to go down like this. These two will touch, be a slight angle, and then we'll point this at like roughly a 45-degree angle so that water terminates properly. So that's where we're at. You're looking at
the sunset.
We've laid some of these bluestone right here. We have the level on it, and I think it's really important to note the temperature. So we're in the realm of 30 to 40 degrees. We end up adding an acrylic fortifier bonding adhesive admixture, and we use rapid set in conjunction with our Type S mortar to come up with a really nice solid base. And what that does, so the rapid set has an accelerant in it that it makes that cure happen a little bit quicker and does not allow the mortar to freeze, because if that happens, then you deal with issues of it bonding temporarily or appearing as if it does, because the water actually bonds to the bottom of the piece of the material, and then when it warms up, the two separate, and then you end up with it popping off. So as you can see, with the exception of these three pieces, we have our bluestone mortar laid, and this is going to be our established height. Now we walk down this right here. We have this thing pitching in such a way where this water is coming off. So these are level from side to side in this direction, but they have a nice slope that conforms to basically shedding water over in this general vicinity. Now there's one area in particular where we have cross-directional slope that was existing. So this slopes, that slopes. So what we did is we flattened this area out just a touch with teats and conformed to that essentially. What we did is we set one piece a tiny bit higher. So the higher piece essentially comes here, drips down like drip edge would, then it weeps off here, and this should be the main area of shed. This, however, for any sort of wind driven stuff, this has a very, very slight pitch, maybe like a 16th. In between it, we're getting down to 30 seconds here of an inch out, just so that for whatever reason, there's no bellying, there's no water being held along this border, so that it won't be able to back migrate. We are going to set this a tiny bit below the height of our pavers, so that when the water comes off the main field, it goes down onto these, and then it weeps out. Right here we're setting our inside border and outside border. We're going to put cut pieces of bluestone in here in the event that this needs to be serviced, so that allows for a little bit of space. Coming to find out, we're going to have to cut that a little bit more for him, but we'll make that work after. But we're nice and level from here to here, and where we're putting our pitch, just so this is nice to walk on because it's such a short span, is our pitch is going along the length of this down and out. So this will be nice and flat across, and then we'll work our way down with a reasonable pitch. I believe we're pitching about an eighth to a quarter, probably right around 3/16 over a foot, sort of playing around with the existing pitch on the structure, but then beyond that, adjusting a tiny bit with our own material to try to sort of play with it so it's not incredibly steep, but it's also allowing the water to be able to weep, and we're not left with a crazy face on the front of it, meaning a huge variance for our stone veneer. We have a bunch of paver sand set up already. We ended up using both the leveling base that we used on the lower sections and that together to be able to pad ourselves up. So we could see that all the bluestone border is in currently, and we ended up being a little proud of that 1 inch mark to basically account for the fact that we had a bunch of deficits. When the concrete was poured originally, when they were cutting their edges in, which is a term for basically rounding over your edge and separating it from the form, some of the areas went down as much as 1.25 inches beyond the top of the substrate. So we had to do a few things to pretty that up and make it work for us. We have a lot of this built right now. We're seeing it come together and pretty stoked. So we have that plastic laid out. Now it's important to know we are in New England and we expected rain, and we did not want the rain to trickle down into those joints that at this point do not have polymeric sand, because the rain can negatively impact that base. It can move it around. It could also allow it to move through the vacancy, or not vacancy, but where the bluestone is laid out. We put mud down, and there are still small channels where that could migrate through and allow those pavers to sink. So we're just going around looking at the step, feeling how it feels when we go up onto this elevation, and everywhere is nice. We're a little high on our pavers. Send the water out into the environment, as it was referenced to me once. Very happy with it. Everything feels awesome. No very intimate water. One area where we had to dip down over this corner, because we had a couple different heights at play. Here, there, they had to sort of meet. You see that this is a bit higher than the other side. But what we'll do is we will install a type-S mortar, 45 it, so that it sends the water out from here, there. And we do have a slight pitch on these and those to send water out this way. Out this way.
I'll take that back.
Cut this part out apparently. When I install polymeric sand, I try to find some joints and fill them as I go because it's very hard to get the stuff to compartmentalize into the joint openings. So we are a family-owned business, and we decided to bring our daughters to work today. So it's Take Your Daughter to Work Day. They were very helpful, and you know, it's really a joy having them around for low-maintenance things. We're wetting down this polymeric sand because in order to activate it, it requires water. So before we would do this, we go around with a blower. We blow off any residual off of either, you know, like for instance here, it would have been the fence, the shed, or anything that might get stained from the polymeric sand. Blowing a little bit of the extra off of the patio itself is also very helpful. Hey everybody, today we're washing down our polymeric sand. We've just agitated the surface with a citric acid, eco-friendly shampoo. And what that does is it rejuvenates the surface and removes any sort of debris that's impregnated into the surface from walking on it, any stone dust that's residual, or any sort of airborne things or things in the air rather that might find themselves falling down. So it's just giving it a nice clean look before it gets sealed. We're going to rinse down the entirety of these substrates to make sure they're nice and clean before being sealed, and rock and roll to the next step of the process. So on the vertical surfaces of this patio area, up into the upper patio area, we decided to go with Berkshire blend, which is a blend of different variations of granite. It's very strong. Granite typically yields anywhere from 20,000 to 45,000 psi, which at the 45,000 psi mark, it's water impenetrable. It's very long lasting, and the color variations will work very well with both our border and our main patio area. We have the blue from the bluestone. We have the gray variation throughout the course of both of these, so we felt like it would be a very nice pairing to go with the gray also found in the wall, like gray and a little bit of tan as well, which was interesting to me that I found its way into the mix, but I think it works very well with all of the colors present on the entire project thus far. So you'll notice that we have our bluestone decorative stone in at this point, and I am laying some stone veneer. It's on the darker side right now, but we're laying the main return side. Have the light set up, awesome light by the way. I believe that was the rigid light that we bought. So we had two casualties on this job, our easy up and our angle grinder. I'm going through and I am trimming the plastic from the underside of the stone veneer that we had laid 3 days ago before the wallop of the storm that just landed and, you know, put a damper on our day and or week. Beyond that, we're going to be moving on to installing this Vicus 10 by 12 gazebo. The homeowner purchased it, and as a professional courtesy, we decided that we are going to install that for them. It's very nice. It actually conforms rather well with the original design shown here that we did at the beginning of the project.
And deadline of completion is tomorrow. Do you think we're going to make it?
Find out next time on I'm freezing right now. Shown here is the Bucketmaster 3000. Now, this is actually a seat and a stool at the same time. It's pretty incredible. It's a lot better than flipping it around the other way when you have stuff inside and getting it all over the place. I don't know where the screws went. They're there. If you lose your balance, bite onto the top rail for support. If you lose patience, I don't know what to tell you. If you lose yourself, there's always a way back if you follow the yellow brick road. So I think it's really important to note when you are assembling this thing, lay out your sections in A to Z format so that you're able to refer to your instructions and put it together. I really like this gazebo. It can be confusing at times. This is a two-tiered roof system, which, you know, I was in love with the idea where you have your ridge and then you have your secondary roof or main roof, depending on how you look at it. Here we have them laid out in such a way so that you're able to assemble them. Pre-building them on the ground is also nice too. If we were to do this again, I think we would build the entire roof on the ground and then set the side rails and the main panels and everything up there all in one go. So here we have the Vicus gazebo. The homeowner purchased it. I really like this. It has a like two-tiered roof system. So it has this like ridge. It's almost like two ridges. So it has this upper roof and lower roof. And honestly, the assembly is a little bit tricky with some parts, but in general, I really like the construction of it. Very nice. Now we have to determine the installation, where we want to put it for the homeowner. It's still light enough right now where we can figure out the orientation of it, whether or not we want to kick it in this way or going a little more this way. Whatever's more conducive for them and they feel like might look a little more aesthetically pleasing for their eye and their tastes. So I think it's important to note that this is not a one-person job. If it weren't for my partner in crime, my lady, the ladder stool combination, and this marvelous C4 that you see here with a crusted over ice top during an 11-degree day, I don't think we would have gotten through this job. So as we work down the line, we're assembling the rest of these panels, and this part of the process got to be a little bit easier. You know, we had our main area started, we had our legs on, we had our bearings. This was starting to make a lot more sense, and it really picked up the pace. We went through and back screwed everything down, tightened everything up. It's also important to note that leaving things loose, meaning all your top screws loose and your bolts so that you're able to do fine-tune adjustments, is definitely for your benefit if you go to install one of these. Here we are, nearing the finish line on this gazebo build and project. This has been quite the experience thus far, and as you can see, it's laying out beautifully. We decided to go up on this side with a couple pavers to account for the fact that we went for a pitch. We're probably just going to adhere those directly to the surface and then screw directly into them. We're going to screw this side directly into here. We're going to reorient this tomorrow upon discussion with the owner to see where they might like it, and yeah, this job is almost a wrap. We're also going to determine some material over here for them for the springtime so that they're able to reseed and then also bring up their grade a little bit. The plot was sloped pretty exceptionally into that corner, pretty drastically. And there's a nice belly right in this general vicinity, which it becomes very evident when you look at the hardscape. So we're going to determine the quantity for them so that they're able to obtain it, and then also the quantity so they're able to fill up their garden bed. So here we are on our final walkthrough of the project. We haven't really talked about the crushed bluestone that surrounds the edges of the hardscape. We decided to go with this as opposed to topsoil, seed, and straw because during an average rainfall cycle, we feel like it holds up to the test of time a little bit better. It mitigates that water and it prevents erosion. So we thought it was a very considerate add-on that we could do free of charge. Just looking at that wall and really taking in the majesty of this project. If you or someone you love needs a project like this done, please feel free to reach out to us. www.msoutdoorliving.solutions, 774-708-5865, serving Massachusetts and Florida.